This is the Best or Worst podcast. And now, here are your hosts, Koji Steven Sakai and M. Martin Mapoma.
To episode number 27 of Best or Worst podcast. I'm by myself today because Martin was having some technical difficulties. He couldn't get his mic to work, which is part of the problem of being on Zoom. But I'm happy I'm here and I have a guest. So it's not just me talking for 30 minutes, which would not be possible, I don't think, by myself. How are you? Actually, introduce yourself.
Hey, so I'm Arsal. I'm an emerging writer-director, and thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, tell us. I know you're a filmmaker, but where are you from? Tell us a little bit about who you are as a person.
Sure. So I'm actually from Turkey, but I've been in the States a very long time at this point. So I've been living in the Bay Area since the past 4 years and trying to actively do film while also attending graduate school. So the last project that I worked on was actually Koji. So we worked on a feature film.
Yes, called Last Girl.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to get that, going and push it out as soon as this craziness is over with the world. But yeah, so I've been working on some independent projects as well. So looking forward to that.
Great. And then we met at this university called International ITU in the Bay Area, where I taught for a second. And you were one of my students, but you were one of my favorite students. And so we actually ended up becoming friends and filmmaking partners. And now we're making this film together. And well, tell us a little bit about how is the COVID-19 treating you so far in this Corona apocalypse?
Oh my God, it's terrible. But I can't really complain about that, I guess, because a lot of people are going through a lot. But it's at first it was kind of like, this is great. I'm gonna have so much time for myself. I'm gonna catch up on all the movies. I'm just gonna sit and lay down on my couch. And then I realized, this is actually really serious along with the rest of the world. So it's been kind of traumatic on that end.
Yeah.
It's I have a dog, so I have to walk the dog twice a day. And it's been kind of stressful to go out. It's every day is do I wear a mask? Do I not wear a mask? And then I see some people and you try to social distance and some people just don't do that. And you're kind of oh shit, do I have it now? And what's happening? So it's been a ride. It's day 39 in quarantine. So it's been a long time at this point for me, but we're all adjusting to it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling my students in my classes that this is a world-changing kind of thing for everybody. In that there's all the scripts that we've written, everything that's going to come out from this point on. There's a world before this whole COVID-19, and then there's a world of after. And it's kind of if we wrote a script before 9/11 or after 9/11, where the character ran through the airport and went all the way to the gate. You'd be this is an old movie because it happened after, you can't do that anymore, right? After 9/11. Wow. And so I think that there's going to be something similar to that. So, one of the challenges for me is I've been rewriting a lot of my old scripts to make it work for kind of this post COVID-19 world, which we're going to have to think about too for our project as well, about how on some level, I think we would have to address, is it, did it happen after? And if it happened after, what is the consequences of what kind of things are they doing or not doing and stuff like that? So we'll have to kind of consider that when we move forward.
I fully agree. I was also going to say, I think it's hilarious that not hilarious, but it's very ironic that I actually made a short film about 3 years ago. And it talks about this so-called dystopia of there are no foods, people can't go out, you're only allowed to go out once a week and you can't see anyone. And there's a shortage of toilet paper and water and it's happening. And I was oh my God, this was so in my imagination that I thought that I was creating this whole set of new world with new rules and everything. And now it's just oh my God, it's so close and it's actually happening in a different level. So
yeah, really, although if this is the end of the world, this is a very light end of the world, because I think this it could go a lot worse, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, we're at the point of the show where we start to wait. By the way, did I mention this is episode 27? Man, I don't even remember if I did. Oh, well, this is super unprofessional. I think Martin not being here has thrown me off a little bit, but if we haven't, episode 27. Thank you guys for listening. Okay, so this is the point of the show where me and Martin would kind of discuss whether we want to hear your best or worst moment, and because we're in the middle of this COVID-19 craziness, we want I guess it's up to me. So I'm going to have to think about it a little bit. So, I think, man, usually I choose based on the person. Like if they're kind of happy people, I want to know like sad things about their lives. And if it's sad person, I kind of want to know a happy thing, but like, I kind of know you better than a lot of the people we've interviewed. So, I'm just going to say, I want to hear the best. The best part of COVID-19 for you. What is the best part of it? What is the one moment that, and what we say is that, obviously this is a little bit different because we usually ask about your moment of your life, but this is about the last like 39 days or so, right? But like, think about the first moment. It's usually the first moment, and don't think about cliche moments like, getting married, or I know you're not married, but things like that, or your parents dying is a sad thing, obviously, but I know your parents are dead, but like things like that. Those are not the kinds of moments. Like I wouldn't like choose like my mom dying as my worst moment, because obviously that's a bad moment, but think about something other than those kinds of moments, and think really just the first moment is the best. So do you need some time, or do you have something already for us?
I have two, but like one is like a sequence and one is just one thing. So I'm trying to decide if like which one I want to go into.
Okay.
So just like, give me a second. Okay, you know what? I think I'm gonna go with like the best one that I think is the best one, but it's actually like a really embarrassing one.
Okay.
So
That's good. That's good. I can't
yeah,
wait for it.
like so we're all going crazy, right? Like I do not go out to the grocery stores anymore because I do online shopping. Not that I need an excuse to stay at home, but like that's what I've been convinced myself to do to stay safe. So I've been like kind of tracked down like Amazon Prime Now to get like Whole Foods or Amazon delivery at like midnight, like 1 a.m., 11 p.m. and like stuff like that all throughout the day. So I did it like a couple weeks ago. I ordered everything and then I realized I was going to get cat grass. And this is not essential at all, and I'm fully aware of that, but we have two cats and a dog, and like they just like need grass, and it's like been really awkward. Like I can't really rip off the grass anymore from the like the parks, because they close down the parks, and it's just like really weird to like try to get the grass and like wash it. So I was like, okay, let me just add this to the order if I can. And I thought I was able to add it to the same order from the same place, which was Whole Foods. Apparently not. So the next day I just like got this random call and they were like, so we got an order for like 2 cat grass. Like, is that accurate? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, just do it. And then the guy just like laughed on the phone and I was like, okay, what's happening? And he just like, hung up and I wasn't really sure what was happening. So 4 hours later, I get like the groceries and then the cat grass was not there. Right. And then a couple hours later, and by this time I actually called Amazon. I was like, my cat grass is not here. And like, they refunded me the cat grass. Anyway, like after 3 hours or 4 hours or something, I got another order with a whole package that has like like WTF on it, and then just like LOL, just like written like the whole package, and it was a cat grass. So I got cat grass shamed, and it was like the best moment of my life. Like I felt so terrible that someone actually had to like do the shopping for that cat grass, and someone actually had to deliver it, because I thought it was the same order, but apparently it was like a separate order. But like they just like mocked me all the way out, and I just like kept thinking about like this dude that called me on his day of like, this poor man is like out there during this whole crisis and he's like working at Whole Foods and he just like had to pack cat grass for just me, which is not an old lady. I'm not someone, just like a regular person, just like wanted cat grass. And then he was like, you know what, I'm just gonna shame this person for this. So I think it was like, it's a bad moment, but it was the best moment of my life, because I just like, I really celebrated
Okay.
that dude.
So,
Yeah.
so for clarification, what exactly is cat grass?
Oh my God. It's just like this little like pot that has grass in it and they call it cat grass. It's like literally just grass that like it's safe and it's organic and like pets can eat.
Oh, so and cats like, I've never had a cat, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Cats eat. My dog ate it too. So like they just eat it. It's
Oh,
literally just grass.
well,
It's
dogs usually eat grass when they're sick and when they need to throw up. Is that
yeah.
not?
Yeah.
Okay.
So cats, like, how they lick themselves, so they have fur balls, so they need to throw up,
Yeah.
so they eat like grass, which is also, just making a point that I'm a crazy cat lady as well, with 2 cats and a dog and buying cat grass and COVID-19. But it was
Well, that's so weird that this person would shame you for this, though. I mean, like, that's a weird thing to like shame somebody about. I mean, is it because it's like, you're putting me in danger for cat grass? Is that probably what the
I
situation is?
think that was like the first thing, and I felt really bad about that. And that person is fully accurate if that was like the whole setup of it. But I think he was also just like, when he called me to ask me about the accuracy of the order, and they realize that I'm not like a person of need for this, because I think it would be different if I was like, you know, like an elderly person or like a veterinarian or like something like that. Not that he can really understand it through the phone, but I was just like really careless because I didn't really understand what was happening. So I think he was just like, okay, this is just like a millennial or like some, you know.
Yeah, but you could have been like immunocompromised. He doesn't know.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
he doesn't
right.
know. He doesn't know. No, he doesn't
I mean,
know. It was like, it was a bad on his end, but I think it was like still hilarious. It was like very like meme-like type of thing. So it was like, oh my God.
Wait, did your cats and dogs enjoy it?
Oh yeah, my dog ate the whole thing, so the cats did not get to eat it. But you know,
Oh no. Okay.
she was feeling a little sick, so you know, it's okay.
Oh,
They're all
man.
healthy now, and the grass is gone.
Are you gonna order more?
No, oh my God.
Why not?
No.
You should. I mean, you know, the things that I'm ordering on like Amazon are not essential. They're essential for my sanity, you know? Like,
Oh yeah.
so
No, that's definitely important. I ordered a like wine yesterday, so you know that's good. I'm like making up my game. I realize what times are best to order too, so it's like
yeah.
teaching me a lot. But I think they also ran out of cat class, so you know, just to make that clear. I checked it last week and they didn't have it, and then I was like, no, we don't need this anymore because they're not sick. So you know.
Interesting. Well, you know, like when the last during the last recession, when the Whole Foods business was kind of not doing well, the pet food was still doing well. So people were still buying really good pet food for their pets, even if they themselves stopped shopping at Whole Foods. So I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that's, you know, our dogs our pets are part of our family. My dog eats raw, organic chicken patties.
See, that's a good dog life, you know.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, I was trying to explain to my son that his food is probably better than like 80% of the world's food. You know, it's organic, it's raw, it's like all you have to do is cook it. It's like,
No, I mean, it's like, you don't have to like, you have to just look at it from your perspective, and like, you know, you just want to do the best for your family, and pets are family, so you go all out. But this was just like, I was kind of like, I should have not. It's like not at that cat grass. It was not necessary.
Well, I want to hear the other one that you didn't choose. Tell me about that one.
Okay, are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, I have another one too, but either way, so this one is, a lot of, I think, companies are struggling right now with like the shipments, because you know there's like a massive order coming in.
Yeah.
And I try to like order directly from the companies instead of like, you know, going through Amazon or someplace else, just, you know, make sure that like they have that order and they have that inventory and stuff like that. So out of the 5 orders that I got doubles by mistake.
Oh.
So like I order hand sanitizers and I got like 10 instead of 5, and like stuff like that. So it's been like really like the highlight of my like COVID, like, because this is like the 5th time that happened. And like the first time I was like, yeah, like when, and then I just felt bad. So I kept emailing the companies back saying, hey guys, like I got a second order. Like, do you want to charge me? They're like, no, this is a safe time. Like you're a family. And like, they've been sending me like, stay safe. So I got an extra plant. I got hand sanitizers. I got extra coffee. I got extra oat milk, which is crazy. And then I got extra toilet paper, which is like, it blows my mind that I got that extra.
Wow.
So yeah, which was good. So I gave it to my friends, the toilet paper, because someone was running out. So I also feel good on that. And I also got extra pasta too. No, I don't know. Like over the shipments in the last like 35 days, like this happened a lot.
Wow.
Makes my day.
That's amazing. I haven't had any of that luck. I don't know what you must be doing. You must be doing something crazy, sending some crazy vibes through email or something.
I don't know what's happening. It's just like, it's been great. It's been great. Even my imperfect box actually had some additional materials this week. And I was like, oh shoot, I had some extra granola in it. I was like, what's happening?
Wow. You should order more.
I know. It's like, it's a bad habit. It's going to be an addiction. At this point, I'm going to like keep ordering just to get more. And like, you know, it just breaks the whole.
And you'll be you'll be like a hoarder, and you have your whole house will be full of stuff.
Crazy. I'm just like, okay, that never reaches that. But yeah, that was like the other highlight.
Wow. Well, tell me how, you know, after all this is over and things return to normal or normal-ish, how do you think you're going to look back at this whole thing, and any kind of positive changes in your life that you think that this whole thing is going to bring to you?
Yeah, I think for sure. I definitely decide to focus more on myself, and, you know, you can't really put off the stuff that you were putting off for years anymore. Like, you know, if I always want to like, you know, gain more skills on my editing and like, you know, read all the books that I couldn't. And like, you know, you always give yourself excuses of like, you don't have time and you have to rush there, you don't have to rush here. And like, so I haven't been doing that. I learned to actually be more in contact with my family and my friends, especially back at home, because normally it's like very difficult with the time difference. And now I don't really have an excuse, because when I walk my dog, I just call my parents and stuff like that. So I think personally, especially like that is definitely going to like take me to the next level as far as growth goes. But I think it also like brings us another perspective on life of like, you see how so many people lose their jobs, and like how a lot of people cannot stay at home, and like, you know, they can't really stay safe, and like how the government is not really organized to do something or like handle like this. So we're not ready for this, right? And like it definitely shows. And I think this is like, you know, all the movies talk about zombie apocalypses and like, you know, the end of the world, and like this is, you know, it kind of feels similar to that, even though we know that it's not there yet and it's not going to happen really, but it's still like a big change. And like especially in like here in Silicon Valley, you know, companies are kind of contemplating if they should even have offices now, because a lot of people can work from home, and like what does that really mean? So I think we're going to change a lot based on society and like countries and like the globalization factor of it, but personally too. So yeah, some good, some bad, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. The one thing I keep telling people that I haven't heard people talking about is that one of the big changes with this, you know, if we go into a depression or recession or something, is that it's gonna hasten the AI revolution even more. Because when things were great, there was no reason to not hire a bunch of people to do the jobs. But now that the recession, you know, now that the economy turns, that's when it's like, well, do we really need these truck drivers? You know, if we invest $35,000 or $40,000 and get a robot AI to do it, that's like, it's cheaper. They never get sick. They don't crash the truck, or, you know, for retail or for fast food or anything like that. I mean, that's the thing that most scares me about this whole thing, is that, you know, that kind of change, you know, even just like staying home thing. It's like at some point, you know, are you even essential anymore? You know, like a lot of the jobs are not even essential. So do we really need to stay with it? So that worries me a lot. But that's not, we're supposed to be positive though.
Oh no, I totally get it though. I think your like concern is very valid. Like for me, I did actually lose my job too. So I joined that train, you know, among like the rest of the people. And like when you come down to it, I worked as a videographer editor, right? And like all events got canceled. So unless like my marketing team wants to like make something for branding, like there's no purpose for me in a company, because if we can't have events, I can't shoot anything, I can't do interviews. So it's also like, and like mine is still like an, you know, like a higher end job compared to like, you know, just have to be a truck driver, like, you know, it's like delivery and stuff like that. So it's, you have to really put yourself and like your skills and what you are able to do to perspective, and kind of come up with ways of like what you can do. Like for me, I started looking at like stock footage from my end. Like I was like, I have all these videos, I can't shoot new videos, so what can I do with the ones that I have? So I was like, let me just put them to stock footage and see if I can sell them through that and stuff like that. So everyone's kind of, you know, trying to find creative ways to make money and survive. Unfortunately, not everyone has a lot that they can do, and a lot of people have families, you know, that they have to support. So it's a lot. So I hope it definitely does clear up for a lot of people. But we're, you know, for us, it's good positive growth. So, you know, hopefully for a lot of us at least. I really hope so.
Yeah. As I was telling you before, I think I got furloughed from one of the businesses that I worked at. So, although I don't know for sure, so I shouldn't say that, but I believe that's what's going to happen. I don't know though. I'm not going to name it. I'm not going to say anything. But I do have like 5 jobs at this point anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, well, you know, so we have some time, and because your story was pretty quick. Usually, the funny thing is, we talk about life stories, and life stories just take like a really, really long time. Since we have a time, and COVID's only been 39 days, so these stories couldn't be like, you know, 2 hours long. I want to hear the worst part of being this whole COVID-19 situation for you. What's the worst moment for you?
Okay. So I think, and like this is obviously just something I think, it was not confirmed by any medical person or like any, you know, hospital, but I do think that I had COVID-19 and I did not know about it back in January, and I think I spread it a lot too. Like I ate at that part, and like I feel terrible, and it was like the moment that I realized that, to give like, you know, the ending of the story. So my parents actually visited me back in December, right? And like we did all of the touristic things that you can imagine. And this is talking from like December 18th to like January 2nd, where like I went to Disneyland, I went to SeaWorld, like we went to Vegas, we gambled, and like, you know, I don't know how many times I washed my hands, but it was not as often as I should have with the COVID-19. I'm pretty sure about that, right? So I did all of that with my family. And then I come back on January 2nd, and then on January 5th or 6th or something, I had to go back to Vegas for work, and I attended the Consumer Electronics Show, which happens every year. And this year there was 182,000 attendees in Vegas, right? So it's like people packed everywhere from all around the world. And on day 4 or something, like all of a sudden I come down with this fever, and I never get a fever in my life. I can't breathe, I'm coughing, and I can't walk. Like I was like, all of a sudden I was just like paralyzed. Like it was crazy. Like I couldn't do anything. And then for the next 3 days, I literally like slept for 18 hours a day. I had a high fever. I had to call my manager to like grab me from my arm to like walk me through like one point from the other point to the casino just to get food. And like, this is a work trip too. So they were kind of like, can you fly back? And I was like, I can't fly back right now. Like, I don't see myself making to the airport. So I was dead sick. Like, it was crazy. And like, after a couple of days, my fever just went down just a tad bit. So I like flew home, obviously not knowing about COVID. So like, no mask, no nothing. I'm just like all around with my germs, just like, you know, going on the plane, flying back. So I come back, made my boyfriend sick, made my mom sick. Thankfully, not my dad, which is the risk age, but like made like a lot of people around me sick. Like everyone was like so sick that like my boyfriend couldn't wake up for like 2 days straight. Like he was sleeping in the bed. So like it was really heavy. And we thought, like we still don't know, but we always thought that it was like a really heavy flu. And like it took me like around 3.5 weeks to like recover. And my mom just said like she recovered the last month. So for her, it took like 2.5 months. And like my mom is 57. So we're still thinking that like I probably had COVID-19 and I like just, you know, got it from there and like I spread it all around. So that moment of realization was like, oh shit, like
wow,
this was pretty
so
bad.
you're like Typhoid Mary then.
Yeah, I think so. Man, I don't know. Like, I mean, you know, England is talking about making these kits to see if we actually had it or not. So I'm just like hoping that those
Yeah.
come soon and to test that out. But that was like that moment that I realized that, oh my God, I probably killed someone by accident.
Well,
Just like it was
well,
really bad.
and I think that's one of the big changes. You know, I think that before, if you're sick, you're sick, and you can still go about your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I mean, as a father, you know, I still have to drive him around if I'm feeling shitty, right?
Yeah.
I still have to do everything, and it's like, you know, I think that that's one of the things that is, you know, that's going to change now, because now, like, if you're sick, you're like, maybe I should stay home, or maybe I should wear a mask. Before, only Asian people wore masks, right? Like, the funny thing is, I think I had COVID-19. I think we talked about this at one point. Like, I had like in January, I was, I don't know, maybe it was February, I was super sick, and like, I mean, I was so sick that like I remember I called my wife and I said, I can't take care of this child anymore. Can you come home? And I like closed the door, locked the door, and I told my son, I was like, I can't take care of you. You need to go do whatever you need to do. I don't care. And I went in bed and I slept like usually I go sleep at like 5 if I'm sick, and I wake up in the morning, I feel fine. But this is the first time that like I woke up and I felt crappy still.
Oh my God.
And I was like 3 days of just like, I'd never felt that bad for that long. And I think it was really interesting. So I always joke that I had COVID as well. I mean, I had a fever, I couldn't breathe, I had like, you know, I was throwing up, I was going diarrhea. I was like, all these things were like, you know, just, it was really bad. And then I kind of got over it. And now, you know, like, and I've had a cold kind of since. So I probably have like, you know, I probably have it still maybe, but yeah, I think it's changed that, you know, because for me, it's like when I got to the market and like, because I still shop, you do everything online, but I shop still, you know. It's interesting because I could feel the presence of people around me now, you know, even if they're 6 feet, it's like I could like, I turn and I look and I see them, and I'm like cognizant also because of the whole anti-Asian Asian thing going on. Like I'm also cognizant of like how they're reacting to me, but it's like in a lot of ways it's really interesting to see like somebody coughed and I'm like, oh, you know, like or even my son, like, because he has a cold, I'm like, hey, you know, you got to look around to see who's around you, because we're Asian and people aren't happy with Asians at this point. So, you know, you just got to be careful about what's going on. You can't just cough anywhere, right? Because it's crazy that we're thinking about that now in ways. And whether you had COVID-19 or not, it's like, you know, in the future, I think you might be more careful, right? Or you at least would ask for like, you would wash your hands more, you ask for a mask or something, you know, because in Asia, if you're sick, you wear a mask. Mm-hmm. Right, that's just part of the culture, right? Yeah. But here, it was never part of the culture until now. I think that's one of the things.
Yeah, well, no, I totally agree. Yeah.
Tell me, what are the things that you think is going to change after this whole thing? One thing in society that will be forever changed.
I think remote work for sure.
Remote
Like, I
working.
think, yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh, like I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal to be like, oh, I want to work from home this Friday. Like, because I know that like some businesses are not okay with that. Obviously, some businesses can't do that. Like, you can't work from home as a waiter or like a barista. But,
Yeah.
especially in the corporate world, I think it's going to be like, I'm going to work from home, and like there are no excuses to say like, oh, no, you can't, because you've been doing that for like, 2-3 months or God
Yeah.
knows when, like, so I
I
think
mean,
that's definitely going to change.
emailing doesn't, you could do emailing in an office or you could email from home. I mean,
Yeah.
I never understood the whole like not working from home. I mean, to me, it's just like, I'll check my email more actually. Like because that's one of the things that they found in, when some places do like what is it? The 10-4
Hmm.
schedule. So 4 days at 10 hours. And they actually found that they work less because what happens is they take longer lunches, longer
Hmm.
breaks, and they like mess around more. And so at the end of the day, they're not even doing their 8 hours. So like, so it's weird. They're not doing the 8 that normally would do. So it's, at home, I'm actually, I'm home. I could comfortably do a lot of stuff, and I could get more work done, and I have to drive over there and park and
Hmm.
walk over there and do all that shit.
Yeah, you save a lot of time. Like, you don't have to commute. Like, you don't have to, like get dressed. Like, I mean, you technically do have to get dressed at one point if you're
Yeah.
not living alone. But you know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah. So it's
But
like pretty casual. So
yeah, but I do recommend, there is something about getting dressed because I work from home a lot. So
yeah.
I always like my son now is at school with me, he's still here. And
Hmm.
I think it is important that he gets up, changes into new clothes, and makes it like a routine of like, oh, now I'm going to school. I'm going to go. Like for me, it's like, I don't very rarely wear the same clothes I went to sleep with to write, because it's like, then I still feel like I'm in the middle of writing as opposed to, working, which is what we're doing.
Yeah,
Well,
no, sure.
how can people pay? How can people follow you or find out what you're doing? Do you have a website or Instagram, or do you want to,
Uh, yeah, sure. So, find me on Instagram. It's just Arsal Asal, my name. And
how do
then
you
I
spell
also
it? How do you spell that?
it's okay. So it's ARSALASAL. So it's like a little riddle. My parents like things to rhyme. So, here I am. But yeah, so follow me, hit me up. If you have any creative projects they want to discuss, let me know. If you need ideas or feedback, I'm open.
Or also, if you need a videographer, she's available. So
Oh,
do
yes, please,
you have a
please.
website?
Yes, I do. It's my name, last name.com.
Okay,
Everything pretty simple.
great.
Yeah.
So I'll put that in the show notes. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'm sorry my partner couldn't be here. It's a lot more dynamic when he's here because he's a funny guy. But thank you, and then please for everyone else, please rate, review, subscribe to our podcast. It's how we get out there. Please make sure to tell a friend, especially during this time. It's great, and thank you for listening, and thank you for being you guys. Thank you. Bye, guys. Oh,
Thank you
like
for having me.
my hand. There's my hand. Woo! My hand came in. All right.